Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya. If you've never been here before, welcome. I post book videos, vlogs, I have a TBR game, and lately I've been posting a bunch of travel content both here and on TikTok and Instagram because I went to Europe for a month this summer. And speaking of that, today is going to be a book haul. Got this giant stack to talk about, most of which I bought while I was in Europe, and I thought we could talk about them. And then I have a few that I either purchased, that I purchased since I came back, nothing that I purchased before I went. So let's just get started. I'm not sure about my hair. Okay, so let's start with the books that I bought in the UK and France. That's mostly where my book shopping happened, and that is this stack here. So I can't remember where I bought these anymore. Some of them I can, but we'll just go through. So the first book that I purchased and that I've already read is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a romance, second chance romance about an erotica writer and an award-winning novelist who had a thing for a week when they were in high school, and then they both lost contact with each other for various reasons, and then they reconnect for 7 days in Brooklyn as adults. And I loved this book. You can hear more about it in my June and July reading wrap-up, which I'll leave up above here for you. And yeah, I picked this one up in the UK because I hadn't seen a softcover version in Canada yet, so I wanted to grab this one. Next, we'll talk about these three together. So I went to Shakespeare and Company in Paris, which was a highlight of my trip. Being there where some of my favorite writers wrote was just like a dream come true for me. And when I was there, I picked up 3 books. The first one I picked up was another copy of Richard III by William Shakespeare, because when you're at Shakespeare & Co, you need to buy Shakespeare. And they even stamped it with this cute little stamp. I love it. So if you haven't heard of this play, this is my favorite Shakespeare, and it's about the War of the Roses and King Richard III and his fight with Henry Tudor, who eventually would be King of England and the beginning of the Tudor family dynasty. So I liked this copy. I have like 2 other copies, but I wanted to get one from Shakespeare and Company. Speaking of which, I also picked up If We Were Liars by M.L. Rio. No, that's not true. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. When I was there, which is a Shakespeare-inspired book. So it says, Oliver Marks has just served 10 years for a murder he may or may not have committed. On the day of his release, he is greeted by the detective who put him in prison. Detective Colburn is retiring, and he wants to know what really happened a decade before. As a young actor at an elite conservatory, Oliver noticed that his talented classmates seemed to play the characters on stage and off. Villain, hero, temptress, though he was always a supportive role. But when the teachers change the casting, a good-natured rivalry turns ugly and the play spills dangerously over into real life. When tragedy strikes, one of the 7 friends is found dead. The rest face their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police and themselves that they are blameless. So this book actually like popped up on my For You page on TikTok recently. I had it on my TBR before. I think someone on a dating app actually recommended it to me, but then this popped up while I was in Europe, and I was like, okay, if I see this at Shakespeare and Company, I will get it. And I did. So I picked it up. I like the idea of a murder where there's like a bunch of possible suspects and you kind of go back and forth on which one is actually the murderer. And I think it's interesting. I'm pretty sure that it is centered around Macbeth, if not another Shakespeare play. So yes, I'm excited to get to this one. And lastly, I picked up I'd Die for You and Other Lost Stories by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald wrote in Shakespeare and Company, so I also wanted to get one of his books, and I had never seen this one before. The print is very small, so I'm a little concerned, but this is a bunch of stories that for some reason or another were lost. Either they were just never published, or he didn't send them to his editor, or his editors didn't get it, and they have all been published in this book. So I will get to it at some point, but I wanted to get something from his collection when I was there as well. Then I picked up a few books in the UK, and the first one is Men Who Hate Women by Laura Bates. This has been on my list for a while, and I was hoping to find it there, and I did. I've only read like the introduction so far, but I do think it's very interesting. Essentially, it's a nonfiction about how the internet and groups of men come together to create incel culture, and let me read the back. Starting in the murkiest depths of the internet, Laura observes these groups in action, from incels and pickup artists to men's rights activists and men going their own way, tracing how effectively their ideas have been smuggled into our collective consciousness via trolls, the media, celebrities, and politicians to emerge unchecked in our schools, workplaces, and corridors of power, posing deadly harm to both men and women. So I'm very fascinated by online indoctrination, and I think this will be very interesting, so I wanted to pick it up, and I saw it when I was in Foyles, I think. Also, can we talk about the fact that this is a paperback book, and it was $10, $9.99 pounds, but still, like, this is a paperback book that I bought here for like 20 Canadian dollars. That's crazy. I don't get it. Anyway, then I picked up two books that have been on my TBR basically since I started making a TBR, that I found on either YouTube or TikTok, and I've never been able to find them here, just at the store. So when I saw them, I knew I needed to get them. The first one is called In Watermelon Sugar by Richard Brodigan, and this is apparently a classic, so I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like it's a bunch of little kind of like poems and essays, but I remember watching Jack from Jack in the Books' video about books that Harry Styles recommends, and this one apparently was included in helping him write Watermelon Sugar, which you'll now have in your head for the rest of the day. So I added that to my TBR a while back, and I managed to find it. I believe this one was in Waterstones. So yeah, I thought I'd grab it. It's quite short. We'll see what we think. And then the last one that I got in Europe is Insatiable by Daisy Buchanan, which was recommended to me on TikTok, and it's a kind of, I don't know, first love, coming of age. This says Insatiable is about women and desire, longing, and the need to be loved. It's a story about being unable to tell whether you're running towards your future or simply running away from your past. And I thought it sounds interesting, and again, I've never been able to find it in print here, so I needed to grab it while I was there. Then I got 4 books here that I purchased since I've been back, and the first one is Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Mateer. I read this for book club, and I bought it on my Kindle, and I really enjoyed it, but then when I went to book club and everyone had their physical copies, it was too beautiful for me to not buy the physical copy. So there is just some stunning art in here, and the pages are like that really thick, like glossy paper. And I know I complained about how expensive this one was, but it is worth it for this. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to re-annotate this like I did my Kindle. And again, the review can be found up in the July and June reading wrap-up video. But a beautiful book, beautiful poetry, so I needed to grab the physical copy. And then when I was there, I bought The 2000s Made Me Gay by Grace Perry, which is a bunch of essays on pop culture and how it has like affected our generation. My friend Bhavana read this book in one time, and I thought it sounded super interesting. It's things like The Gospel According to Mean Girls or The Glee Bubble, things like that. Like things that really shaped my childhood. So I think this will be really interesting and I can't wait to read it. And it's another one of those that I look for at every single bookstore, and because they had a copy on the shelf, I bought it. And then my camera's going to overheat, but the last two books I picked up are brand new releases that came out 2 weeks ago? No, last week. And I ordered them on Amazon, which I'm a little bit ashamed of, but I couldn't get either of them at my local bookstores, and I wanted them, and Amazon would ship them to me the day of. So I'm sorry, but you can't beat that. The first one is Cake Eater by Alison Dolan, and this has been my most anticipated new release of the year. Essentially, I believe it's a young adult, but essentially it's if Marie Antoinette was an influencer in the year 3070. And that just ticks every single box for me. And also the cover is absolutely stunning. Should we see what the... Oh, look at that color of pink without the dust jacket. This is like my favorite color. This is so pretty. Okay, so anyway, I'm very excited to read this. It is quite long, but I'm so excited. And then apparently this is a hot commodity now, so I'm glad that I grabbed it while I could, but I picked up I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, another childhood piece of my childhood. This is her memoir about growing up in acting, but also what she endured as a child from her mother, who basically controlled every single aspect of her life. I have heard this is a really hard read, but I'm really intrigued by it, and I think that I will enjoy it once I get to it. And another beautiful cover and color. Look at that color. I love it. Anyway, so apparently it's really hard to find now. People have sold out of it super fast, so I'm glad I got a copy while I could. And those are all of the books I have purchased in the last couple of months. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books down below or if you plan to. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I love watching book hauls, so I thought I would quickly throw one together for you to combine the travel and reading content together. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!